Have you ever wondered if intimacy in a long-term relationship can survive into middle age? As we age, we face countless changes, both physically and emotionally. But one topic that's often left in the shadows is how intimacy evolves. Is it normal to feel disconnected from your partner? Are your desires still valid? And what happens when the spark begins to fade? In today's video, we dive into the complex issues many couples face as they navigate intimacy after 50, and why it's crucial to have these conversations, even if it feels uncomfortable. You'll learn about the challenges that come with aging, from emotional struggles to physical changes, and hear how one couple overcame the barriers of intimacy in their 50s. Why is it so hard to talk about these issues, and how can you bring it up with your partner without feeling judged or dismissed? We'll explore real stories of couples who faced these obstacles and how they found solutions that reignited their relationship. By the end of this video, you'll understand why addressing intimacy in midlife is not only possible but necessary for maintaining a fulfilling relationship. If you're feeling unsure about your desires or worried that intimacy in your relationship has faded, this video offers practical advice, emotional insights, and powerful reasons to keep that connection alive as you age. Don't miss out. Watch until the end and discover how you can enjoy a vibrant, satisfying, intimate life, no matter your age. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. As we age, there's a deeply ingrained misconception that our need for love and intimacy gradually fades into the background. Yet, the reality is far more nuanced and profound. For many, the desire for love doesn't simply diminish with time, it endures, even intensifies. Love, in its most primal form, is an instinct that is embedded within us all, an undeniable human need that transcends age. As we navigate the complexities of middle age, this desire can remain a powerful force, one that, if embraced with balance and respect, can offer a wealth of health benefits and serve as a spiritual balm that shields us from a host of physical and emotional ailments. However, as time passes, our bodies may indeed change, and certain desires can seem to fade. But does this mean that feeling desired at 50 is abnormal? Not. Desire at this stage of life is not just normal. It is vital. It is something to be cherished and nurtured, for it reflects the undying vitality of the human spirit, a reminder that we are, in essence, still alive and still longing to connect. In middle age, as social circles often narrow and the weight of life's responsibilities gradually lightens, the space for intimacy opens up in new and profound ways. There are fewer obligations, fewer expectations, and for many, a sense of freedom they've never felt before. It can be like a rebirth, a second chance to rediscover the joy of companionship, a deeper connection with a partner who, like you, is experiencing the richness of life's later years. If intimacy is still present in this stage, it is not just about physical connection. It is an emotional tether, a bond that transcends the fleeting nature of external appearances and delves into something far more meaningful. A partner's desire, especially in the later years, is a gift, a precious reminder that love doesn't age, it only deepens. Take, for instance, the story of a woman reflecting on her father's journey through his 50s and beyond. At nearly 60, he seemed to be experiencing what could only be described as its second youth. His desire for intimacy had returned with surprising intensity, leaving his wife, his partner for decades, somewhat taken aback. Initially, she thought his newfound joy stemmed from his role as a doting grandfather, but the truth ran much deeper. The woman's mother eventually admitted that the couple had long struggled with intimacy. Her father, 6 years older than her mother, had always maintained a strong desire for closeness, but for years, his wife had been disinterested. As the years passed, her father's desires became more vocal and frequent. When her mother didn't respond in kind, he would withdraw, sulking in silence, refusing to eat or speak. It was as if a crucial piece of his emotional well-being had been locked away, leaving him vulnerable and disconnected. Similarly, another woman, Kim Chi, aged 55, found herself in a strikingly similar situation with her husband, who was 8 years her senior. After 2 years of sleeping in separate beds, Kim Chi's husband began to express his desires more insistently. Initially, she indulged his requests to share a bed, but as his needs grew more frequent and more urgent, she started pulling away, finding excuses to stay with their daughter. The intimacy they once shared had become a source of discomfort rather than connection. It was a heartbreaking reality for Kim Chi, one that many couples face as they grow older, when desires diverge and emotional gaps seem to widen. But the truth remains: intimacy, even in later life, is a fundamental need. It is not just a physical act. It is an expression of love, trust, and a deep-seated yearning to be seen, heard, and cherished. Desire, no matter our age, should never be dismissed or ignored. Instead, it should be embraced with tenderness and respect, because ultimately, love knows no bounds, not of time, not of age, and certainly not of the human heart. The changes in desire that accompany aging can be both unexpected and deeply unsettling for many, leaving them feeling uncertain or unprepared. However, the truth is that desire in middle age is not only natural, it is a testament to the vitality and strength of the human spirit. There is no shame in experiencing sexual desire after 50, yet society often perpetuates the misguided notion that intimacy in later life is something to be avoided. This belief is not only inaccurate, but it also undermines the very essence of what it means to embrace life fully, regardless of age. For those over 50, engaging in intimacy is not just a fleeting indulgence, it is a powerful and enriching part of life. When practiced in moderation, it offers profound benefits to both physical and mental well-being. Far from being harmful, a healthy sexual life can rejuvenate the soul, uplift the spirit, and contribute to the overall process of aging with grace. It serves as a vital lifeline, reducing stress, enhancing mood, and fostering a deep sense of emotional connection. Sexual intimacy, at any age, remains a vital expression of love and self-worth, and it is something to be cherished rather than shunned. However, it's crucial to understand that at this stage in life, the nature of love and intimacy evolves. Desire may not be as frequent as it once was, and the energy to fully satisfy one another's needs may not always be there, even when the emotional desire remains strong. This is not a reflection of a faltering relationship, but rather a natural shift in physical and emotional health. Our bodies, after all, are not the same as they were in youth, and that's okay. What matters is not the frequency of desire but the quality of connection. How deeply we share and cherish these moments, no matter how often they occur. Thankfully, there is no need to simply accept changes without seeking ways to improve our experience. By making thoughtful, intentional choices, we can actively enhance our physical and emotional health, which, in turn, nurtures intimacy. First and foremost, the foundation of a fulfilling, intimate life lies in maintaining overall well-being. In the hustle and bustle of life, it's easy to overlook what truly matters: our health. Without health, we lose so much of what makes life meaningful. As we age, certain health conditions and medications may interfere with intimacy, but that does not mean we should allow those challenges to create distance between us and our partners. Rather, we must prioritize our health and take steps to safeguard it. Exercise is a key pillar in sustaining both physical vitality and emotional resilience. Regular physical activity not only strengthens the body but also boosts self-esteem and confidence, both of which are essential for a fulfilling, intimate life. It's not about how often we engage in intimacy. It's about being able to enjoy it fully when the moment arises. Intimacy thrives in a body that is nurtured through a balanced lifestyle, one that encourages physical fitness, emotional well-being, and mental positivity. Exercise increases circulation, alleviates stress, and even releases endorphins, the body's natural mood enhancers, all of which contribute to greater desire and more fulfilling intimate experiences. Equally important is the nourishment we provide our bodies. Eating a healthy, balanced diet, rich in fresh fruits, vegetables, and foods high in essential vitamins and minerals, plays a crucial role in sustaining both health and libido. Foods rich in zinc, vitamin E, and omega-3 fatty acids, such as seafood and leafy greens, are particularly beneficial for combating the effects of aging and stimulating desire. What we put into our bodies directly impacts how we feel, both physically and emotionally. It's a reminder that self-care is about nourishing every aspect of our being, body and mind alike. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. Furthermore, the power of sleep cannot be underestimated. A deep, restful sleep of 7 to 8 hours each night is not just essential for physical recovery. It also rejuvenates the mind, revitalizing our emotional and mental health. Sleep restores our energy levels, replenishes our physical strength, and primes us for intimacy by reducing fatigue and enhancing mood. Finally, cultivating a positive mindset and staying mentally engaged in life is essential for maintaining intimacy in our later years. Whether through social interactions, meaningful hobbies, or simply enjoying time alone, mental stimulation and emotional fulfillment help us stay connected to ourselves and others. Intimacy, after all, is as much about emotional closeness as it is about physical connection. In conclusion, desire and intimacy after 50 are not only possible but can be more meaningful and fulfilling than ever before. By taking care of our bodies, minds, and hearts, we can continue to enjoy the pleasures of intimacy, staying vibrant and connected to both ourselves and our partners. Aging may bring change, but with the right mindset and lifestyle choices, it can also bring greater depth, passion, and joy in all aspects of life, including love and intimacy. For women, staying active through physical exercise isn't just about maintaining a healthy body. It's a powerful way to reignite and elevate libido, reigniting the flame of desire. If you long for a fulfilling, passionate, intimate life as you grow older, it's vital to nurture both your physical and emotional well-being. When your body feels strong and vibrant, your heart and mind follow suit, opening the door to deeper, more intimate connections. As the years pass, it becomes even more essential to embrace the changes in your body with love and care, nurturing your desires rather than allowing them to fade into the background. Equally important is the need for open, honest communication with your partner. This phase of life offers a beautiful opportunity to truly understand one another on a deeper level. By now, you've both lived enough to know the rhythms of each other's hearts, and yet, no one, no matter how long they've been together, can read the other's mind. Sharing your innermost thoughts, desires, and emotions without fear or shame is a powerful act of intimacy that deepens the trust between you. It's in this vulnerability that you allow the space for your desires to be heard and understood, fostering a sense of ease and comfort. Many couples, after years together, believe they know each other completely, but intimacy flourishes when we communicate openly and without hesitation, even about changes in our physical needs or desires. Aging is not something to fear or shrink from. It is a natural, beautiful evolution of life. Don't let it steal your confidence or diminish your sense of self-worth. The possibility of sexual fulfillment doesn't disappear with age, it transforms. Aging is not the end of intimacy, but rather the beginning of a new, more profound connection. With care, open communication, and mutual understanding, this new phase can bring richness and depth to your once unimaginable relationship. Keep believing in yourself and your partner, because the capacity for love, passion, and closeness only grows stronger when you embrace each other fully and unreservedly. As for her, the joy of watching her children blossom into successful, independent adults fills her heart with pride. Her eldest, a testament to her nurturing spirit, has followed in her mother's footsteps, now a dedicated middle school teacher. Her second child, too, has found success, proudly graduating from university. Their achievements are the fruit of years of love and sacrifice, but those on the outside looking in can never truly understand the depth of what has been built over nearly 3 decades of marriage. There are complexities, challenges, and silent moments only the couple themselves fully comprehend. The unspoken language of love and commitment that endures through every phase of life. The issue of intimacy, a topic many struggle to address, is one that she, like so many women of her age, finds herself silently wrestling with. It is a quiet sorrow that settles deep within her, one she has learned to keep hidden behind her well-maintained exterior. It has been over 2 years since she and her husband last shared the kind of intimacy that once formed the foundation of their connection. A deep, physical closeness that now feels like a distant memory, a fading echo of something that used to be. Now, their nights have grown colder and more distant, marked not by the warmth of shared sleep, but by the emptiness of separate beds, 2 lives that seem to drift further apart with each passing night. She is 50 years old, a devoted primary school teacher who pours her heart into her students, always giving, always nurturing. Her days are filled with the love and care that she extends to those in her charge, but when the school bell rings and she returns home, a hollow silence awaits her. She feels the weight of that silence more acutely with each passing day, and yet, she has never once voiced her pain, not to a single person. She bears this burden alone, wrapped in a cloak of solitude and unspoken grief. Women in their 50s face unique challenges when it comes to intimacy. Some may find that their desires wane, that the natural changes of age dull their need for physical connection, but others, like her, still feel that longing, that quiet yearning for closeness, even though they often feel too ashamed to admit it. They wonder if it's still appropriate for someone of their age to desire intimacy. They question themselves, their bodies, and their place in the world of love and affection. For her, it has become an unspoken tension, an internal conflict between the body that has aged and the heart that still desires. She wishes that she could bring herself to speak candidly about her feelings, But every time she tries, a sense of fear holds her back. She fears that her desires will be dismissed, ridiculed, or worse, ignored. So instead, she remains silent, finding subtle ways to hint at her needs, hoping that somehow her husband will notice the unspoken language of her gestures. But all her attempts have been met with indifference. The distance in their intimacy has turned into an emotional void that seems impossible to bridge. And despite her silent yearning, she can't help but wonder if he, too, has simply accepted this distance as the new normal. In their daily lives, there is still warmth. They talk, they laugh, they share meals and small moments of connection. The routines they've built together over the years provide a semblance of companionship, but underneath it all, she feels a profound sense of isolation. It's as if they are two strangers sharing a home, walking side by side without ever truly seeing each other. When she dares to bring up the subject of intimacy, the awkwardness between them is palpable. His response is swift, dismissive, almost casual. "You're getting old, why talk about these things?" His words cut deeper than she expected, each syllable carrying with it a weight of hurt and rejection. She is left speechless, unable to find the right words, uncertain of what to say without sounding foolish or needy. How could she, after all, voice such a vulnerable longing to someone who seems uninterested or uncomfortable with the idea? His casual dismissal makes her retreat further into herself, the silence between them growing louder with every attempt to reach out. For a woman who has spent her life caring for others, the loss of intimacy is a source of profound sadness. She has always been deeply sensitive and attuned to the feelings of others, and now she is beginning to feel the full weight of that sensitivity pressing down on her. Each time she thinks about their lack of intimacy, she is overwhelmed with a deep sadness, a loss she can't quite put into words. Her mind races with insecurities. She wonders if her body, now marked by the signs of age, has become less appealing to him. She looks in the mirror and sees the sagging skin, the wrinkles, the changes that come with time. Has she become invisible to him? Has he grown indifferent to the woman he once desired? Worse still, she cannot shake the thought that perhaps he has found someone younger, someone with the energy, the beauty, the vitality that she feels slipping through her fingers. The fear of being replaced haunts her, each thought spiraling deeper into self-doubt and fear of rejection. The emotional toll of this unspoken struggle is exhausting. It's not just the loss of intimacy. It's the loss of herself, the feeling that she is no longer the woman he desires, or that she has somehow failed in fulfilling that role. She feels trapped, caught in a web of longing and fear, unable to speak freely without the fear of being shut down. She wonders if her desires are abnormal, a relic of a younger, more carefree time. Are these feelings she's experiencing something she should simply suppress, something she should let go of because, after all, isn't it too late for her to still yearn for physical closeness? She doesn't know who to turn to, doesn't know who would understand her struggle. Her friends, many of whom are also teachers, strong, independent women who have built lives around their work and families, have their secrets, their quiet battles. They, too, know how to be discreet, how to keep such matters hidden beneath the surface, never daring to speak out about their own needs and desires. It is as if they are all bound by an unspoken pact, one that says, "We are strong, we are capable, we do not need to talk about this." And yet, in their silence, they are all carrying the same weight, the same loneliness. Her children, too, are a source of both love and distance. They have grown up, and the thought of talking about such intimate matters with them feels not only inappropriate but impossible. She has always been the pillar of strength in their lives, the one they turn to for advice, for guidance, for unconditional love. The idea of speaking openly about her vulnerabilities and her desires feels as though it would shatter the image of the perfect mother they have in their minds. She cannot risk that, not now, not when she has worked so hard to maintain her place in their lives as the steady, reliable figure they rely on. And so, she carries on, day after day, in the silence of her own emotions. The longing, the sadness, the confusion, it all builds up inside her, like a pressure that grows too heavy to bear. Yet she remains silent, trapped by her fears, by the weight of societal expectations, and by the belief that to express she would desire to expose herself in a way that she is not ready to face. Each day, she tries to find ways to fill the emptiness, to reconnect with the woman she once was, but each attempt feels like a small, quiet defeat. The person she once was, full of life, passion, and desire, seems to be fading, leaving behind only the shell of what used to be. And though she is surrounded by people, by friends, by children, by a husband, she has never felt more alone. The question that lingers in her mind, unspoken yet ever present, is this: does she still deserve to be seen, to be desired, to be loved in the way she craves? And more importantly, will she ever find the courage to ask for what she needs before it's too late? In the quiet solitude of her middle years, she finds herself grappling with a profound sense of loneliness and confusion, emotions that seem to take her by surprise. The desires and yearnings that once felt like natural extensions of herself now feel like distant echoes, uncertain and hard to place. She wonders more and more frequently if these desires are somehow out of place, whether they are simply a natural part of aging or if they signal something deeper, something wrong with her. There's a tug-of-war within her. On one hand, a desperate need for connection and intimacy, and on the other, the gnawing fears that she is somehow too old, too far gone to deserve such things. This internal battle reveals a much-needed truth that society often ignores. The notion that age is a problem when it comes to emotional needs and desires is a fallacy. The truth is that age should never dictate the vibrancy of our lives or the depth of our needs. As we grow older, there's a temptation to believe that our emotional desires are somehow less valid, that the passions we once held for life, for connection, for intimacy, are reserved for the young. But in reality, it's not age that creates barriers to fulfilling lives. It's the way we allow aging to shape our self-worth. We forget that, as we grow older, we can still experience love, joy, and satisfaction in ways that are equally, if not more powerful than when we were younger. These years often provide us with the wisdom, the understanding, and the self-awareness to truly appreciate the things that matter most. Deep, genuine connections with the people who matter, the ability to nurture and care for our bodies, and the freedom to live without the constraints we once imposed on ourselves. Aging is not the enemy. Rather, it's a beautiful opportunity for reinvention, self-acceptance, and intimacy that can be as rich and fulfilling as ever. Yet, as she navigates these years, she is not alone in her struggles. Many of us reach the point where we wonder if our spouse has lost interest in us, if the passion that once defined our relationship has dwindled, leaving only echoes of what was once a thriving connection. The infrequent intimacy and the absence of affection seem to speak volumes, but it is often misunderstood. We may feel rejected or undeserving of the very love we've shared for decades. But the truth is, this shift is rarely about a loss of love. It is almost always the natural consequence of physical changes that come with age. Our bodies evolve, sometimes in ways that make physical intimacy feel more complicated, more challenging, or even painful. What once felt natural may no longer feel right, and what once brought pleasure may now bring discomfort. These changes don't signify the death of intimacy. They simply require us to redefine what intimacy means in our later years. It's about embracing those changes, not fighting them, and finding new ways to connect, share, and care for one another. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. What most people fail to realize is just how unprepared we are for these shifts. The reality of aging often takes us by surprise, and we're left fumbling in the dark, unsure of how to address the things that feel broken or lost. The stress of trying to understand what's happening to our bodies and our relationships can be overwhelming, often accompanied by feelings of shame or inadequacy. This is where the power of communication comes in, communication with our spouse, but also with ourselves. We must shed the misconceptions about aging, about what is appropriate for people of our age, and instead lean into the truth. We deserve love, connection, and intimacy, no matter how many birthdays we've celebrated. Facing the changes with open hearts and minds, without fear of judgment, is essential to maintaining harmony and happiness within our families. For couples in middle age, this period of transition can feel like a crossroads. The pressure to be forever young, to cling to the ideals of passion that we once knew, can make it hard to accept the inevitable changes. But the key to overcoming these midlife challenges is not to retreat into silence or resignation. Instead, it's to embrace the discomfort, to sit with it, and to face it together. This means sharing our feelings openly, without shame or fear. If the changes we face are physiological, then it is crucial to seek guidance from medical professionals who understand the intricate dance of aging and intimacy. Doctors can offer practical solutions, such as treatments or therapies, that can restore comfort and confidence. The importance of seeking help cannot be overstated. It's not a sign of weakness but of wisdom. Understanding that our bodies change and seeking solutions is an act of self-care that benefits not just ourselves, but our relationships as well. An inspiring example of this is the story of Mrs. Khan and her husband. They married in their early 20s when their love was fresh, vibrant, and filled with all the passion of young hearts. The early years of their marriage were filled with the intensity and joy of discovery, as they navigated life together. Their intimate moments were passionate and alive, the kind of connection that makes you feel like nothing in the world could ever tear you apart. But as the years passed, and as they both reached their 50s, the nature of their relationship began to shift. Like many couples, they faced the challenges that aging brings. Her husband struggled with erectile dysfunction, a condition that left him feeling helpless, and them both wondering if their bond had been irreparably damaged. The slowdown of intimacy was hard for both of them to accept. It felt like a loss, a slow and painful one. Yet, what Mrs. Khan and her husband discovered is something many people overlook. Intimacy does not disappear when passion wanes. They learn to adjust to the new realities of their physical bodies without allowing it to diminish their connection. Through open conversations, empathy, and a willingness to explore new forms of intimacy, they were able to rediscover each other in a way that was even deeper than before. Their love did not die with the challenges of age. It transformed. They embraced their evolving relationship, learning to cherish the quiet moments, the small gestures, and how their bond had deepened. This is the power of love in later life. It may not be the same as it was in their youth, but it can still be just as profound, just as fulfilling, and perhaps even more beautiful because it is built on a foundation of trust, understanding, and shared experience. Their journey is a testament to the possibility of finding fulfillment in intimacy, no matter what age we are. The story of Mrs. Khan and her husband reminds us that the challenges of aging do not have to be faced alone. With patience, communication, and a willingness to adapt, couples can not only overcome the hurdles that come with growing older, they can emerge from them stronger, more connected, and with a love that endures through the years. They prove that, even in middle age and beyond, intimacy can still be a source of joy, satisfaction, and connection, if we dare to embrace it in all its forms. She could feel the heavy weight of the unspoken words between them, a silent, invisible force pressing down on their relationship. They both knew the issue existed, but neither of them seemed able to put it into words, afraid of how the conversation might unravel the delicate balance they had spent years building. It wasn't that they didn't care, it was that they didn't know how to address it without hurting one another. The matter at hand, what used to be the vibrant connection they shared, had slowly been overshadowed by the discomfort of their unspoken fears and desires. Both of them were troubled, yet they kept dancing around the topic, each hoping the other would find the courage to speak up. And yet, as the days turned into weeks, the silence only grew more oppressive. Even when they found themselves alone, tucked away in the privacy of their home, she remained tactful, even cautious with her words. She understood him far too well. His ego, the silent pride that was so deeply intertwined with his identity, could not bear the sting of vulnerability. She knew how easily he could withdraw into himself, retreating behind a wall of defensive silence if the conversation were too direct, too honest. She didn't want him to feel less than the man he had always been in her eyes. But there were moments when she couldn't help but fear the worst, as her mind spiraled into darker thoughts. Would he seek out someone younger to satisfy his needs? Would he find solace in someone who could provide what she seemed unable to give? The thought unsettled her, and she buried it deep, not wanting to believe it, yet unable to ignore the fear gnawing at her heart. One evening, the tension reached a breaking point, and the words she had been holding back for so long finally came spilling out. They were sitting in the dim light of their living room, the quiet of the night enveloping them. There was an intimacy in the moment, but also a palpable distance. She looked at him, and in that instant, something inside her cracked open, the vulnerability she had been shielding herself from for so long spilling forth. "Maybe you should find a lover outside," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. The words felt foreign, out of place, and she immediately regretted them. But they were out there now, hanging between them, a confession of her deepest fear. That moment felt like a rupture, as if the trust and intimacy they had carefully built over the years were in danger of crumbling to dust. The room fell silent. The air was thick with the weight of her suggestion, and she could feel his gaze on her, searching for the meaning beneath her words. She instantly regretted her bluntness, but a part of her was relieved too. It was out in the open now, the unspoken had been named, even if it was in the harshest way possible. Yet, deep inside, she feared it was too much. Would he feel hurt or betrayed? Would this shatter whatever remained of their bond? The next morning was a quiet one. It was as if a shadow had descended over their home. They moved through the day with careful steps, avoiding eye contact, not knowing how to start the conversation that loomed over them. She wanted to pretend nothing had happened, to sweep it all under the rug, but she knew that wasn't an option. They both knew it was time to face it, to confront what had been so carefully avoided for so long. And so, after what felt like an eternity, they sat down to talk. "I don't just want to talk about us," she began, her voice soft yet firm. "I'm concerned about your health too. This isn't just about intimacy, it's about you." She couldn't hold back the tears anymore, and they welled up in her eyes as she spoke, the depth of her worry flooding over her in a rush. "I don't want to lose you, not just physically, but emotionally. I need you to take care of yourself." Her words were raw, vulnerable, and full of the fear that had been eating at her for months. She had never felt so open, so exposed, and yet, in that moment, she knew it was the only way forward. Her husband sat there, processing her words, his face a mix of emotions, surprise, guilt, and even a hint of relief. He hadn't realized how deeply his struggles had affected her, how his inability to open up had created a chasm between them. After a long, heavy silence, he nodded slowly. "I'll go see a doctor," he said quietly, the words almost sounding like a surrender. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know that you are still here with me. In the weeks that followed, the change was gradual but undeniable. They visited the doctor together, and with that first step, a sense of hope began to stir within her. The examination revealed the root of the issue, and with a combination of medication and lifestyle changes, their intimacy began to improve. It wasn't an overnight transformation, but slowly, they started to feel the connection again. No longer burdened by fear and uncertainty, but anchored in the trust that they could face anything together. Her husband's daily medication became part of their routine, and though there were some mild side effects, a slight discomfort here and there, it was a small price to pay for the restoration of something so precious. The doctor also recommended that he take up some physical exercise, which he reluctantly agreed to. It wasn't easy for him. He had always been someone who preferred comfort over effort, but he knew, deep down, that this was part of the process, part of getting back to a life he could embrace fully. She watched him, quietly proud, as he began to make small changes for the better. This whole experience had taught her so much about vulnerability, about how seeking help for intimacy issues wasn't something to be ashamed of, but something to be celebrated. It was an act of courage, of love, for themselves and their relationship. As they moved into their 50s, they both realized how easy it could be to slip into a mindset of resignation. There were days when the thought of getting older felt overwhelming, when they worried about becoming irrelevant, about no longer being needed by their children, about losing their sense of purpose. She knew that this kind of thinking was toxic, that it only deepened feelings of inadequacy and fear. If they allowed themselves to fall into that trap, it would speed up the aging process, both physically and emotionally. The truth was that aging was inevitable. The body would change, the mind would change, and yes, even intimacy would change. But that didn't mean it had to be the end of something beautiful. It didn't mean that intimacy had to fade away or become a burden. It could still be fulfilling and deeply satisfying, even if it looked different than before. They had to be open, honest, and willing to adapt. There was no shame in seeking solutions, in asking for help, whether it was through medical advice, exercise, or just being more mindful of each other's needs. For couples entering their 50s and beyond, it was important to remember that intimacy wasn't just about frequency. It was about connection, about finding new ways to be close, about rediscovering each other in a deeper, more meaningful way. The relationship wasn't something to be taken for granted. It was something to be nurtured and cherished. In many ways, this was the most precious stage of life. A time to embrace each other more fully, to be kind to each other, and to create moments of joy even in the face of inevitable change. Rather than viewing this stage of life as a loss, they had come to see it as a new chapter, one where they could still experience love, passion, and connection. It was a time to grow together, to build on the foundation they had laid over the years, and to appreciate the depth of what they shared. With each passing day, they discovered that intimacy, even in their 50s, was far from a burden. It was a blessing, a chance to love more fully and deeply than ever before. As we've explored today, aging isn't just about physical changes. It's about emotional growth, maintaining deep connections, and finding fulfillment in new ways. Whether it's embracing the changes in your intimacy, seeking help when needed, or simply approaching aging with a mindset of possibility and self-care, there is so much we can do to enhance this beautiful chapter of our lives. So, what have you learned from today's discussion? Is there something that resonated with you? Maybe you've realized that seeking medical help for intimacy issues is not something to be ashamed of, or perhaps you're now more aware of how important it is to nurture your relationship, no matter your age. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and share one thing you've learned today that you plan to bring into practice in your own life. Let's support one another as we continue to embrace the joys of aging gracefully, together. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content that supports your journey to a healthier, happier life at every stage. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.